Hello guys, welcome to another video with Slow Life Trading. And today we're gonna hit you with, while I'm having breakfast here, we're gonna hit you with some of the things that some of my things that help make it a little bit easier to live down here in Mexico. Okay? Because I know with the election just being passed, half of the people in the country didn't get what they wanted, okay? And it doesn't matter who would have won, somebody was not gonna be happy. So I know what a lot of, well, I ain't gonna say a lot of them, but some people are gonna say is, I'm leaving the United States. Well, guess what? Here we go. Let me help you out here. I got a list of, I don't know, probably about 30 or 40 things that can help make your life a lot easier here in Mexico, okay? Because remember, this is a different country from the U.S., so they have different little cultural things that we're not used to in the United States, okay? And, you know, there's some things that you have to adjust to. So what I'm going to talk about here on this video is only 10, and then we're going to make another video cover some of the rest of them. But today I'm going to talk about my top 10, okay? And they're not going to be in any certain order. These are just going to be 10. I may cover some of the easier ones first before I hit the next ones, okay? And who knows? These are, I'm not going to say these are for everybody, but these are some things that were good for me. And some of them I learned right away, and some of them it took me a while. You know, we moved down here in June of 2001, okay? So we've been here for almost 3.5 years now. And when we first moved here, it felt like life was like a vacation. Everyday life was like a vacation. Well, now we're starting to settle in, and I'm a lot more calm than what I used to be. I'm sorry. We moved down here in 2021. My wife just informed me that I said the wrong thing. Anyway, so we've been down here for like 3.5 years going on, almost. And, you know, you adjust to different things as life go on. You calm down, you know. I'm not quite as excited about everything like I used to be. You know, I used to get excited and thrilled at every little thing, like just seeing a raw chicken hang by his neck. You know, that was amazing to me when I first came down here. Now that's no big deal, okay? So what I'm gonna cover here is some of the things, and some of them are real little, that can help you make the adjustment to living in Mexico. Because I know some of you guys, based on what some of my friends are telling me, some of you guys that are not living in Mexico, that are living in the U.S., are wanting to come to Mexico, okay? And then we got some people that have just moved to Mexico, and you may find it hard to adjust to some of the different cultural differences here, okay? Now, let's be clear. I'm not talking about living all over Mexico. I'm only talking about adjusting my life to living here in Merida, because this is the only place where I have lived in Mexico. So keep that in mind. And I'm not even necessarily talking about things that any and everybody could use. I'm just gonna tell you from my own experience, okay? And some of these things are gonna hit you, and some of them won't. Hey, like I tell people, take the meat and leave the bone, okay? So take what you need out of this and use it to your advantage. Okay, here we go. 10 things that can help make your life easier living in Merida, Mexico. And again, this is not in any certain order. This is just something to make your life easier. Okay, now, I'm not just gonna go through the 10 and leave it like that. I'm gonna explain each one of them, okay? And I got me a list here to make sure that I go through 10 of them. So here we go. Okay. First thing, or the first thing I'm gonna cover. Coffee. Ooh-wee. Now, I'm a type of guy that likes to sit outside if it's nice and cool and have a cup of coffee, okay? You can do this at a restaurant, but it's hard to find a restaurant here that has good coffee. 3.5 years, and I just found one maybe a month ago, and that's Toks, T-O-K-S. They actually have good coffee, and they give you free refills. Love their coffee, love their breakfast. Not too crazy about their dinner and lunch menu. But anyway, so that's coffee. But some of the time, guys, you want to have your coffee at home. Whether you have your own little porch, your own little balcony, it could be raining outside and you just kind of want to sit at the window and watch the rain, or you can sit underneath your little covering or on your patio and watch the rain come down, because sometimes it's not raining hard. Excuse me. It's just a little drizzle or whatever, and sometimes these rains are only like 5 minutes long, okay? But it makes it cool outside. And cool in Merida is a big deal, okay? So, for me, I like to have I brought my little Keurig deal. And when we first got here, they didn't have the little coffee cups. I couldn't believe they didn't have them the little coffee cups with the different flavors in them and stuff like that, right? So I was, Now the good thing is we came down here on vacation. So I knew that before we moved down here, okay? So what I did while I was in the U.S. is I bought me one of these little things, okay? And what you can do is refill your coffee in these things and put it in the Keurig. That's what I done to get the kind of coffee that I want, because I didn't need to make a whole cup. And you know, they serve instant coffee down here. I'm not an instant coffee kind of guy because I'm not crazy about coffee. I just like that feeling that it gives me in the morning time, that just being able to sip on something, and if you have someone with you, to have a nice conversation, or just be with yourself and just kind of chill and enjoy the breeze or the weather or whatever it is around you, okay? So this little deal right here, which seems like nothing, helped make that possible for me in a way that I was used to having it in the U.S., okay? Because again, they didn't have those little K-cups here when we first got here. Now you can get them. But back then, you couldn't get them. So that's just one thing that helped make my life easier. And now that I can get them, I don't want them. I'm so used to using this till I just use it. That's the way I use it now. And that way I can get some really good coffee. I don't have to depend on the coffee being good in those little K-cups. Because sometimes, you know, you couldn't find any good coffee. So anyway, that's one thing. Okay? And that's how it's going to go here. Okay. Let's continue on talking about it here. Okay, let's continue on. That was one. Number two. And this one is a biggie, guys. Finding a church home. Oh, my goodness. For some of you guys, that's not a big deal. But for me, that was a big deal, okay? Excuse me. So, you know, I got online looking for English churches, English-speaking churches here, okay? And we found one. And we attended that church. It wasn't exactly what I wanted or was looking for, but it was better than nothing. So we attended that church for probably about, I don't know, almost a year. No, it wasn't. About 6 months. And then we done church online at home. And you get lazy with church online at home, okay? You'll start watching it in the bed. And then you'll find yourself falling asleep or whatever. So that didn't work. Then we found another church that was a bilingual church where they would have a translator as they were speaking. And we done that church for about a year. Excuse me. And then they had some differences in their beliefs that we couldn't get with, okay? And then the next thing we done was did online church as a group. And then on Wednesday night, we would have our own little group Bible study, okay? We called it small group. We just kind of took the small group that we had at one church and brought it to the house. And what we started doing is watching these online services from churches back in the U.S. as a group. And that's worked. That's what we're doing now. That has been working. So you could take the same route that I took, you know, try to find your church home that's bilingual, and it may work for you, okay? Because they starting to pop up more and more because we're starting to get more and more English-speaking people moving down. But if that doesn't work for you, online church with friends is a really good, to me, that works really good because you have a certain time where you watch it, okay, which can mean like you go into church and you're more obligated, so you have to get out of bed, okay, and you can do it at different people's houses if you want to, or you can just have one designated person's house. It's up to you. But that has seemed like it has worked for us, and it has gotten us through. And now that more churches are coming down, we're going to start looking again, and maybe we can all kind of get together and attend church that way. So that is one way you can get through the church situation, okay? That works. Okay, let's move it on. Here's another one. Costco, Sam's, and Walmart. In the U.S., I don't care where you live, you can always get a Walmart, okay? And in most cases, you can get a Sam's and a Costco somewhere nearby. Well, what I have found out is having those stores, those 3 stores, the membership here for Sam's and Costco is about 500 pesos, so that's equivalent to about $25. So your membership is even a little bit cheaper here in Mexico than it is in the U.S. And guess what? It works in the U.S., okay? So even if you don't live here, you come here on vacation, you can renew your membership here and then go back to the U.S. and still use it and save a little bit. We have some friends that does that, and that's working for them. But having Sam's, having Walmart, and having Costco will allow you to be able to buy some of the things that you're familiar with in the U.S., okay? Whether that's meat, and that's the main thing, or some little goods around. And then they have products that you first coming down here can trust. You can trust the Mexican stores and different vendors on the side and everything at the markets too, but when you first come down here, you may not feel as comfortable with that, okay? Remember, this is something to help you feel comfortable moving to Mexico. So having that Sam's, Walmart, and Costco down here can help you be a little bit at ease and kind of subtly make the transition of life in the U.S. versus life in Mexico. I'm telling you, it's a big deal, okay? All right. Okay, guys, y'all ready for number 4? Here it is. Having friends. Oh, my goodness. I can't tell you how big of a deal that is. Meeting you some friends, okay? And if you're living down here, when I say friends, I'm not talking about people that are just coming down here on vacation, because they're going to be down here for a week or 2 weeks and then they're gone, okay? And you live here. So you got to, sorry about that. You have to find you some friends that live here, okay? Otherwise, when they leave, you get used to them for about 2 weeks, and some of them, you know, they'll stay for a month, or even six months, okay, or 6 weeks. But when they leave, I'm telling you, if you got really close to them, it can put you through a whammy, a doozy, okay? So, how do you meet friends? Let me tell you how we met them. When we first got down here, there used to be this deal every Saturday where expats would meet in the park and go walking, okay? That was one of the main places where I started to meet friends. And then at church, we met a few people. And it takes a while to get to the point where you find one that really sticks, that really fits you. But you are meeting friends along the way, okay, to get you through there. What you're looking for is someone that really fits you the way you are. You fit them the way they are, so you don't have to change yourself to try to be with them. And you're looking for someone that has moved here, okay, not visited. And it's okay to, you know, hang with a few visitors while you working on finding that permanent friend. And it's okay to be friendly and meet up with a few people that are visiting, you know, help to make their transition cool. But what you're looking for is those, and you only need about 2 or 3, okay? You don't need like 20. You can meet 20, but you want you about 2 or 3 really, really good friends that you can hang with, you can invite them over. You know, if they stay over your house too late, you don't mind them spending the night. If you stay over their house too late, they don't mind you spending the night. If y'all both have kids, your kids can play with each other, or vice versa, okay? But you're looking for that core friend. And the place to meet them, the place where I met them, was in the park. But you also can meet them on Facebook, okay? And Facebook friend groups, and at church. And if you go to social activities, speak to people that speak English. You will be surprised how you can meet people and strike up a conversation. You start by talking about, you know, what made you move here and what you done when you was living there. Just your normal stuff, conversation, guys. And I'm telling you, because meeting friends will help make the transition a whole lot easier, okay? That was number 4. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5, this is another biggie, okay? Having English TV. Woo! That is a biggie. When I first moved here, we had YouTube TV. Because, you know, I like to watch sports. And I like to watch, well, I'm a day trader, so I like to watch financial news, okay? YouTube TV worked out for a while, but I couldn't get all the sports that I wanted to. And then they got to the point where I couldn't even get my local team, Dallas Cowboys, from where I was from, okay? So that wasn't working too well for me. And, you know, it was like $80 a month. Now, the fortunate thing was I was able to split it with some people back in the U.S. to cut the price down a little bit. Because once you get here to Mexico, you start seeing how much less things are. $80 for cable doesn't seem like a good deal anymore. That actually seems expensive. In the U.S., that may seem cheap. Over here, that's expensive, okay? So I was trying to trim my budget. So, you know, we used that for about, I don't know, 7 or 8 months. And then we came up with other things, okay? Now, here's another thing that I learned. When you are looking at sports, you can get Mexican cable. Hang on. Okay, you can get Mexican cable, but the problem is, when you're watching sports, they're not in English. They're in Spanish. So if you can't speak Spanish, then you turn down the volume and you just watch the game. Guess what I've learned since I've been here? Just watching the game without the commentators makes the game not as exciting, okay? For me, I really wanted those commentators to be able to, you know, tell me their opinion on the game as the game is going, okay? Because sometimes they see things that you can't see and point things out, drawing X's and O's on the screen and lines and all that kind of stuff, and even in basketball. I need that. So for me, I had to find other alternatives. Well, the good news is there are other alternatives. can't call the names out online. Some of them don't want me to, and then the other ones I don't even know the name of them. But there are some internet TV channels that you can get, kind of like a cable, and you can get channels from all over the world, okay? Some of them are a little bit harder to navigate. Some of them are less harder to navigate. And if your internet is not that good, you're going to have the, you know, the circling or whatever. But for the most part, it's pretty good. And it can be anywhere from like equivalent, like $5 or $6 a month up to maybe $30 a month. And I'm telling you, you can get movies, pay, you know, like the fights, all this stuff is included, okay? Well, having something like that, especially if you haven't met friends yet, can make the transition a whole lot easier, okay? I'm telling you, because when you don't have nothing to do, when your friends don't come over, and when you haven't met anybody, there's nothing like having your TV to be able to watch your comfort zone TV shows that you used to watching in the U.S., okay? Now, of course, we know we can get Netflix and stuff like that, but if you have to get 3 or 4 of them channels, man, price can get pretty expensive. But if you get one of these internet channels that I'm talking about, you probably can get most of all those shows you get on all of those different networks, okay? It's a good thing to have. I'm telling you, it really is. And that's what I have. And I'm telling you, I'm able to watch all my Maverick games, all the football games from around the U.S., all of them, okay? Without getting NFL TV or NBA TV. I'm getting it all for that same old price. I can watch them if I want to, and I don't have to if I don't. It's a nice situation, okay? I'm finna throw a curveball at you now that you might not have been expecting. When you're looking for your apartment, when you're looking for your house, or whatever it is you're looking for, down here in Mexico, you may or may not have a stove. And if you have a stove, sometimes they'll just give you the stove top without an oven, okay? When we first moved down here, we moved into an apartment, and fortunately for us, we had a stove with an oven. It was one of those narrow stoves, okay? But we had it, a stove with an oven. And I'm gonna tell you something. That can make the transition down here very easier. Because you're gonna get tired of eating some of the local food. And you're not gonna wanna go to Texas Roadhouse and Chili's and Fridays every day. So what that means is you're gonna have to start cooking some stuff at home. Well, when you're cooking at home, sometimes you're gonna wanna use an oven. And it's not fun. For the first year, we had a stove with an oven. For the next 2 years, we moved into a house, and guess what? They didn't have a stove, a stove with an oven, and didn't have a place for one, okay? So all we had was a stove top, 4 burners, no oven. We bought a toaster, and we made do with it, you know, for simple stuff like, well, no, we use it as an oven. But I'm gonna tell you, stuff that used to take like 30 minutes in this oven would take like an hour, okay? So to eliminate that, find you a place that has a stove with an oven, okay? When you get tired of eating tacos and burritos and Mexican food and you wanna cook some food that reminds you of back home, having that oven and having that stove is gonna play a major part in that, okay? Just want to put that out there for you. Let me just give you a simple thing. I like bacon, okay? And you can fry bacon on the stove. That's not a problem. But it's a whole lot easier if you can just stick it in the oven, okay? Less messy, all of that stuff. Now, there are some things that you can do to get around it. Like I said, you can get you a toaster oven, you can get you an air fryer, or you can get you a crock pot or an Instapot. All those things can help you get around not having an oven. And if you really want to make it, you can make it, okay? But life can be a whole lot easier, and the transition can be a whole lot easier. And it depends on where your mind is, okay? If you're really trying to make this work and you say this is what you're gonna do, then you'll make it work no matter what. But if you're one of those type of people that have to have your comfort zone, and you know, rule number one is know thyself, okay? So you know what kind of person you are. I'm just telling you some things that for me would have made life a whole lot easier, or did make life a whole lot easier if you have them. And that having that stove with an oven is definitely one of them, okay? Okay, we moving on. We're at number 7. As y'all know, for me, I love to grill outside, okay? But put meat on the grill. Okay, so when I first came down here, I bought this grill from Home Depot. I think I way overpaid for it. It wasn't nothing but a little bitty square basic grill. Cost me $75. Shouldn't have been no more than a $25 or $30 grill, okay? Well, one day I got lazy, and in our apartment, we had a little spot on the side of our apartment where I would chain my little grill to the burglar bars. Well, you know, you have a nice meal on the grill, and the grill is still hot because you're cooking with charcoals. And when the trash people came, they came and got my trash, and they also took my grill. Man, I was mad. I said, okay, I'm not paying another $75 for a little sweet and water grill like this. Okay, so I said, at this time I had learned about the big market in Central that has everything. Okay, I mean, they have everything that you can possibly need in Mexico, or at least 90%. Okay, and I went there. I asked the security guard and looked around, and I found me a little grill. And the grill was a, you know, man-made, homemade grill. It was 2 5-gallon buckets, metal buckets, like paint buckets that were made out of metal, put together sideways and then split in half, and they put a grill in it. And that was the grill I bought. It cost me 500 pesos. Later on, I took Cortez to get him one, and I think he got it for 400 pesos. And then I took Robert, to get him one, okay? I think I did anyway. And that grill worked great. It didn't have a chimney on it, so what I would do is put a rock in the middle of it so it could breathe. But here's the part I want to tell you about. And I could have told you about this in the US because a friend told me about it. Here, charcoals are expensive. When I first got my grill, I went and bought charcoals from Costco. Remember, I told you Costco, Walmart, and Sam's, okay? Help you get that familiar stuff that you're looking for. Well, 2 bags of charcoals cost me something like $80. That's crazy, okay? But I wanted them, so I bought them. Anyway, and then you have to buy lighter fluid and all of that. But I had my Kingsford charcoals, okay? Okay, now, this is what I've learned since then. Buy those little burnt up looking wood charcoals. They're gonna save you a lot. You can get them things for like, oh man, maybe 80% cheaper, okay? You're paying like $4 for a bag versus paying, okay, maybe $5. I can't remember what it was, but it's more reasonable. And the problem with these, because your meat will still come out with good flavor, but the problem with it is, if you're trying to light those little wood, they black, right? They look like they already burnt up, but it's wood. If you're trying to light that, man, it takes forever to get them started. You can soak it with lighter fluid and then light it. It'll get going and it'll burn for a while, then it'll die. And it just, and then you put so much lighter fluid on there until your meat tastes like lighter fluid, or it has that little lighter fluid taste in it. And you don't want that. okay? So here's the way around it. Keep in mind, we're trying to make you feel comfortable here in Mexico, okay? In the stores, any store you go to, whether it's Walmart, Super IKEA, almost any of their, you can't find it in no convenience store, but a bigger store. They have these hot water heaters, okay? And what it is a little metal, aluminum looking tube connected to a plug. What you do is you take that, you put your charcoal, that wood stuff, on top of it, and then you plug it in. And you let that get hot and it'll catch your wood on fire. You let that burn until your fire is really good. It may take 15 to 20 minutes, but once that wood is going, it'll stay lit. And guess what, guys? It don't really flame up. It just kind of stay like ashes, okay? And it just be bright red and gray. The perfect way that you want your charcoals to be to cook your food and to smoke it real good, okay? And then after that gets going, you remove the little heater thing. And I got a little clip that I'm gonna show you to talk about this. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next one. And another one of these simple, easy things that you can do to make your life a little bit easier. When you're grilling, you use charcoals or you use the wood charcoals or whatever they use here, but do not use lighter fluid, okay? It leaves your food with a little lighter fluid type taste in it and all that. And sometimes it can be a pain in the butt to get the fire started. What you want to use is one of these heating devices here, okay? Let me just show it to you a little bit better. Okay, I don't know what it's called, but it's a hot water heater. And what you do is you take one of these things and you put it underneath your, you stick it underneath your charcoals, okay? And you can get a smaller one if you like. You stick it underneath the charcoals. And, sorry about that. And you leave it there for about 15 minutes or so or something like that until your charcoal start getting really, really hot. And then you pull it out and you have to plug this in. And I'm telling you, you will eliminate that charcoal flavor, that lighter fluid flavor in your meat. And you also eliminate the headache of trying to get your fire started on your charcoals. Here in Mexico, unless you want to pay an extremely large amount of money for charcoals like Kingfords, you're gonna go get those like burnt wood looking charcoals. Give your meat a really good flavor, but those Kingford charcoals are expensive. So the way to eliminate that is getting one of these they're hot water heaters, what they are, but we use it to heat our charcoals. I learned about this back in Dallas, and it works miracles. And the price of them is crazy low. As you can see there, that's 59 pesos or 52 pesos for the smaller one. Okay? Just want you to see what I'm talking about. This is gonna speed up the process of getting your lighter fluid and take the headache out of getting your fire started. Anyway, because one of my things I like to do is put food on the grill. I hope you guys found that grill thing to be something that can really work for you. It can help give you that comfort food that you want, okay? Excuse me. Okay, here's one that you may or may not be used to in the U.S., but it will help your transition a lot here. And this can help make up for some of the things that you know that you can't get that's from the U.S. What is it, Rob? Having yourself a maid. Okay, it could be a maid. You can get you a cook. You can do all that for a very reasonable price. Very reasonable. Okay? But right now, I'm just going to talk about the maid part. When we first came here, we had us a maid to come once a week. in our apartment. What it does is it frees up your time, okay? And it's really nice having that time freed up so you don't have to worry about cleaning up the house. I mean, and she'll do everything. Take out the trash, clean up the front porch, clean off if you have a house, clean off your patio. All of that, okay? Clean your whole house, make up your bed. In some cases, they'll wash your clothes. You can even have it where you can have a cook where they will cook your meals, okay? Heck, some people even have a live-in. We tried to live in for a month and we loved it. But then we realized we didn't need anybody to live in with us, okay? And we didn't need anybody every day. We're not that dirty. And we don't have kids, okay? But if you have little kids, you can get you a nanny. You can have you a cook, a maid. You can do all of that. And I'm telling you, that will help make your transition here a whole lot easier, okay? I mean a whole lot easier. We were fortunate enough, because me and my wife both worked, we had a maid to come by in the U.S. once a week. And it sure did feel good to see the carpet, the areas that we did have carpeted, all fluffed up, all the carpet going one way, no footprints on the carpet, the house smelling good when you come in. That was nice. Well, here you don't have carpet, and I'm going to talk about that next. So, anyway, having a maid or just hiring you some help around the house can really make the transition to Mexico a whole lot easier. And you can do it and still stay within your budget. It's a way to splurge without splurging financially. So, something you might want to try out. And instead of working to keep your house clean, go take your nap, okay? So, anyway, let's get on to this next one. This next one is very simple, guys. This is one that anybody can do. And some of you guys, it's not that big of a deal. And I thought it wasn't that big of a deal for me. But I found out after I done it that it's a very big deal. Okay? You ready for it? Here we go. House shoes. You're not going to believe how great that can make your life. Okay, now, I just talked about how much easier life can be if you had a maid, and how we had a maid in the U.S. and you would come home and you'd have your carpet all fluffed up and all that kind of stuff with no footprints or anything on it. Well, in my house in the U.S., we had hardwood floors, we had carpet, and we had tile, okay? And we didn't just have tile all over the house. Well, here in Mexico, carpet for the most part is not a thing, okay? And I didn't understand it, but after living here for 3.5 years, I understand it now. It's very dusty here because you keep the windows open. And it seemed like they got so much construction going on, and brick dust and concrete blowing all over the place, until it's a pain in the butt, okay? So get you some comfortable house shoes, and it almost feels like you're walking on carpet, because these floors are hard. And I'm the type of person that loves to walk around the house barefooted. Well, guess what, guys? I found out I couldn't walk around the house barefooted here. It was just too much. It was too hard. It was wearing on my feet. Took me 3 years to figure that out. My wife begged me for 3 years. Honey, get you some house shoes. Honey, get you some house shoes. You don't need to be walking around this house barefooted. It's not good on your feet. Would I listen? Like most husbands? No. I'm like, honey, I like being barefooted. So, getting you some house shoes and then having you a throw rug underneath your desk or in front of your television where you have a soft carpet right there, those two little things can make a major difference in making your life feel a little bit more like home in the U.S. Help you to transition here. Don't underestimate the simple stuff, guys. These house shoes cost me like $12, okay? And I went without them for 3 years. Not because of the price, because I said I'd like to walk around the house barefooted. Well, I did when the floor wasn't so hard. But now that the whole house has tile floors, there's nowhere to get really relief for your feet unless you prop your feet up. Having house shoes can be a major, major deal. Get you some nice soft house shoes and you'll see what I'm talking about. And for me, since I'm a super guy, you know what I had to go do? Had to get me some Superman house shoes, okay? And I'm here to tell you, them Superman house shoes are the bomb. They're nice and soft inside. I love them, okay? I mean, I absolutely love them. Get you some house shoes, guys. It will help make your transition on your feet here, living here in Mexico, a whole lot better. Okay, we're finally at number 10, guys. This is the last one I'm going to talk about on this video. But that doesn't mean it's number 10. This could be number 1 or number 2. Depends on you, okay? But this was a big one for me. Okay. When I first came down here, I told myself, I'm going to learn Spanish, okay? And I thought just the fact that I would live down here and be able to talk with locals and stuff like that, that I would learn Spanish, okay? Just by being submerged in the culture. Well, guess what, guys? That is not the case. People will either speak English if they know how to speak both around you, because they know how to speak both. Or you will find people that speak English, and those will be the people that you make your friends, okay? Or whatever the case may be. But you could be like my wife. She's really hard at it, trying to learn Spanish. Right now she's taking 3, sometimes 4 classes a week trying to learn Spanish. And she's getting good, okay? She's starting to learn it. Me, I started taking 1 class a week that was for an hour a day. And as soon as I got on that phone, that Zoom call, I was ready to get off. I used to be looking at the clock, okay? And then I wouldn't do homework. I don't know why, but I wouldn't do it. I paid a lady and then hated to do the class. And even though I was learning a little bit. I got to the point where I knew what my numbers up to 1,000, and I knew the days of the week and the months of the year and all of that, okay? I was getting it, and I still know some of that. But I'm telling you, my mind had a hard time retaining it. And I don't know why, but it did. And so I just stopped. I said, I'm going to have to learn it my own way. A word or 2 at a time. A little bit at a time. But in the meantime, I had a crutch. And that's probably my biggest problem, my crutch. Well, the crutch is what I'm going to tell you is number 10. And here it is. WhatsApp and Google Translate, okay? It's not a perfect translation, but I'm telling you, with them two, you can get through just about anything. I'm not kidding with you. And the few little words that I did learn, but in the beginning, I knew how to count to 10, maybe hello, goodbye, and probably less than 20 or 30 words, okay? I may know 50 or 100 now. But Google Translate can't go anywhere without that phone, guys. If I call my doctor, most of them speak English. But if they didn't, you can put Google on your WhatsApp. Okay, let me tell you about WhatsApp. I don't know about you Apple phone people, but the people with Androids, they got a way to do it, and I accidentally stumble up on it, and don't ask me how to get you back in there again. But they have a way where whenever they send you something, right underneath it, it'll translate it into English, okay? And when you send them something, it'll translate it into Spanish and go back to them. It's a way to communicate without a big headache. They send you something, all you got to do is look at the English part. You send them something, all they got to do, well, they don't have to do anything. It's going to send it to them in Spanish. But you still get to see underneath it in English what you sent them. So if you go back, you don't have to try to remember what the Spanish translation was, okay? So that, and then when you at a place, they got an app on Google Translate where you can hit one button and they can talk and it'll come to you in English. You hit another button, you talk, and it'll come to them in Spanish. It's not a perfect translation, guys. It's not perfect. You're going to have to slow yourself down and learn to get through things a whole lot easier, okay? And then they also have another thing on Google Translate where you can take it as a camera, you can put it over something that's in Spanish, and it'll translate it to English. I'm telling you, Google Translate got me through. That, and you learn to slow yourself down. You're not moving at 100 miles an hour like you were used to moving at in the U.S. And these are kind of my top 10 things that can help make your life or your transition into Mexico a whole lot easier. Help you to get settled in and used to some of the things that you can't change. Now I'm going to tell you, there's very few things that you can't change. Some of them are a little bit more expensive. And then some things that you can get here that you probably couldn't even afford in the U.S., okay? Maybe having a maid and a cook and a yard person and a driver and all that could have been one of them. Because you can have all that here, okay? But anyway, that's it for now. That's my top 10. Hope this list helps you in the future. I told you I got about 40 things or something like that, right? Let me tell you how many I have. Hang on. Okay, looks like I got about 30 things, okay? So we'll at least have 2 more videos. And I could come up with more. So on each video, I'm going to do 10. But this one right here, I done my first 10. And these first 10 are things that don't really cost you a whole lot. It's stuff that you can do even if you're renting an apartment. But I got other things that you can do if you are renting a house or buying a house, okay? But anyway, guys, until the next video, peace out and keep it slow.